to Integrated EDU,
where innovation meets education.
Here we explore fresh strategies,
creative learning pathways,
and powerful tools to boost student engagement and growth.
Let's elevate education,
one idea at a time.
Hello, educator friends. Welcome back to another episode of Integrated EDU. We are so excited to have you on today. We have a very special guest just for you.
You know, you notice that we're just not here together, Kara and I, but we have Phil with us. He is a motivational speaker in education. We could not wait to get him on, especially the beginning of the year for teachers, because Phil talks all about how to be less tired and more inspired. And as educators in the beginning of the year, we all need a little bit of help keeping that going throughout the year as we get started. So, Phil, thanks for joining us.
Hey, ladies, it's a pleasure to see you in the virtual setting, and I'm honored to be here and ready to pour into some awesome educators.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. So, Phil, tell us about kind of where you're at right now in education and kind of what's hitting for you.
Yeah, thanks for asking. So, as of May 30th, that was the last day of my teaching high school chemistry and physics after 20 years. So I like to say that I quit teaching so that other teachers don't quit, which is a terrible marketing strategy and hypocritical sounding, but it's the truth. I love education. I loved my career. I had great students, amazing faculty and like family staff wise, but I just saw so many awesome people that were looking for an exit strategy, that were really dragging their feet on the way in every day. And these are amazing humans that just aren't able to like get to that level of thriving so that they can push through. And I want to make sure I can help that because I'm worried that a lot of teachers are going to leave and that not a lot of people are going to go into the profession. So I've been called to do that, and I'm excited to pour into educators across the nation through my motivational keynotes.
Oh, I love that. You know, we're kind of in the same boat with you as we see all these amazing educators doing great things, and you're exactly right. They're feeling burnt out or overwhelmed, and they're just like, we just can't anymore. And so with our instructional strategies, we're like, how can we help you in the classroom? And it sounds like you have some good things that they can do for themselves as well. All right, so how do we keep them around? What are some ideas that you have?
Yeah, I think, the hard part to say, because no one wants to hear it, is that no one's coming to save you, right? The system is set up in a certain way. It's really hard to make huge systemic changes. We know that. And though that will eventually happen, you may be retired before those big changes actually happen. So we have to be realistic about, is our job worthy to do? Of course, 100%. But is there a lot in our way, and is it an uphill battle? Yes. It always will be, no matter what. Humans are complex. This will always be a difficult job. However, can we do things that are in our control so that we can show up more excited, thriving, full of more zest to our jobs? Absolutely. And that all starts with ourselves and figuring out, first of all, like, what are the things I absolutely love about life? And they might not have anything to do specifically with teaching your subject or your grade or area. But once you figure out the things that you love and that energize you, how are you actually intentionally and purposefully like building that into your daily schedule? So I think a lot of times, because you guys are educators, you get it. Like, it's give, 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 then go home and give, give, give to your family and to your spouse, to your community, drive, 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 drive. If you have older kids, like, you're always giving. So when is there time for you? And I get it. Like, a lot of people say, well, there just isn't, but that's not true. We can start building a daily schedule where you get these little hits of things that you love so you can keep fueling yourself up. And that's what I love to do. I love helping educators like really take a step back and look at their daily life and figure out where they can start injecting the things that they love into their everyday lives and jobs. And it can make a huge impact on our energy, ladies.
Oh, I love that. You're right. We pour into all the things all day long. And you know, as a mom of four, I come home and like, man, I really want to read to my kids, but I don't want to read to my kids. I've been reading to kids all day long. And it comes down to what is it that I really enjoy. And I wonder too if other educators feel the same way, that you forget the things that you actually enjoy doing because you haven't done them for so long.
I think that something I love to challenge the audience with when I speak to them, are figure out your ers, which is a positive psych term for like you're a teacher, maybe I'm a father, you're a mother, you're a creator, you're an educator, you're a music listener. But those ers that you are, but that energize you, those are the things you really need to lean on. So for me, like music is a huge part of my life and a huge energizer for me. So there was always music playing in my classroom because it energized me, but also allowed me to like connect with my students. I had high schoolers, so we discussed music a lot. They told me to play music that I've never heard of to learn from them. But by giving like a piece of what I love, but also giving that to my students, it allowed for this level of connection that I think is so important because it does allow us to push through the tough spots because every day there's always going to be things that students don't want to do or that I don't feel like doing. But when we're in it together, it's so much easier. And I really do think building in the little quirky things about you into your career, not just your life, can make a huge impact. And it's super underrated and does a lot more for us than I think we'd realize.
Yeah, definitely. I always say, let's say we're speaking in Las Vegas and we're at a teachers conference, right? We're walking down the streets of Las Vegas and you can pick us out. We don't even have name badges on. And we're like educator, principal, PE teacher, right? Like we are just these unique human beings that can do this phenomenal job. And we take it to heart and think, well, maybe I could do more for these kids or more for my team or more for my family. And we forget to do more for ourselves so that we can continue to pour into that. Yeah. And that connection piece is so huge. So what are some ideas that you have that we could give educators listening that they could implement tomorrow that could help
Yeah.
them with this?
I think the first thing is that they have to be honest, like look at their daily habits. And I'm not the person who's telling you like you got to get up at 2 a.m. and smear kiwi all over your face and and then do red light therapy. But like if that's your thing, like rock it. But everybody's like got their rhythm and routine. Just look at your routine and be strategic. In your routine that you do, your habits, is there anywhere you can sneak in and like double dip something that you do with something that you love? For example, I used to have a 35-minute car ride to work. So I would listen to an audiobook for the first 20 minutes. And then the last 15 minutes, I would listen to like violent, aggressive, heavy metal music. Cause that was my way to like show up to work. I was ready to throat punch someone. I mean,
Yes.
I was ready. But
Get it.
that filled me up. So it's like, can we start stacking things? And then another important thing is I think a lot of times we all think we have to keep adding to our life, but decluttering is really important too. Like, is there something you traditionally do in the day that you like, or it doesn't deplete you, but it just keeps you neutral? And can you take that away and either open up that space or replace it with something that's going to serve you even better? For
Mm.
me, it was the like teachers lounge lunch. For the first 5 years of my career, I would eat with my coworkers. I wanted to connect, but I did find that some years was more negative than others. And I felt like I would leave lunch like more fired up and ready to like hit the picket line than to actually like go pour into my students.
Yeah.
So I decided I could use that time to eat quietly, recharge, and also grade a little bit so that I didn't have to do as much as home. And to me, even though I missed that connection with the teachers, I found other ways to connect with people that I could be more positive around. So again, decluttering sometimes can be a huge shift. But anyways, if you pick one thing you love and find a way each day to just plug it in a fun way into your class, you'll start to get a momentum of feeling like, yeah, that felt really good. Maybe I can do that with other things. And before you know it, this becomes your daily routine. And even though like I have a very strict schedule in my life of like when I get up, when I exercise, but we all know like that perfect routine never works out ever. Someone throws in a meeting, a parent needs you to, they was supposed to pick up your kid, couldn't, and now you are. Like life happens. But when you have a schedule, even when part of your day gets totally thrown off, you still had that half day where you were hitting on the good stuff too. And the goal is to end up the night with like a positive mental bank. Like I had more uplifting things than depleting things. And if you can do that systematically and consistently, you're more resilient, you're more energized, you're more willing to take the time to make a human connection with someone. You're not as quickly to jump to conclusions and assume the worst in people, but give them grace. It's when we're more energized and feeling more positive, like life gets a lot better and easier for us. But it takes a little bit of extra planning at the beginning to get the outcome. It's an investment.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
I think about that decluttering. I like the decluttering thought because we get into this, we're systematic. Educators are
Mhm.
very systematic. And so stopping, maybe writing down all the things that you do in your day that you think you have to do or that you do every day, and then what are those things you can take out and what could you put in that serves purpose. Integrated, we're always saying if you're not doing it purposefully, why are you doing it? Because in education, we don't need to just do stuff to do stuff. We don't have time. So it kind of goes along with your thought of decluttering and what you're doing purposely for yourself and for your family and for your students. I love
Yeah, I
that.
love that. The way you guys encourage people to run their classroom, it overlap exactly. I would say do that with your life too. Like
Yeah.
purposeful about it. And I think we all know if we don't schedule our life, someone or something will. I
Yep.
mean, life will get scheduled. So why not try to get ahead of the curve and be ahead of the game and do it yourself first? And then, once you have energy too, you're like more flexible and resilient. It's a good place to be, but it takes a starting point.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So I'm kind of thinking that this could almost start as like a checklist for
Okay.
teachers, like check, I did this, check, I did that. And that can feel kind of draining. Designing this system, are there kind of like steps that you think that would be more purposeful for educators? I don't know if that's a question you can answer.
Yeah, no, I think everybody's at their like I like to say ice cream flavor. Like some of us are feeling Rocky Road, some of us are feeling like Scooper Man right now, some of us are Neapolitan.
Yeah.
So like it depends on where you're at. But if you're feeling Rocky Road, like me telling you to create this big checklist is you're gonna shut me out right away. So I would say for someone who's like, man, I'm barely surviving, if even surviving right now,
Mm,
I would say it would start with one thing that you love. Try to fit it in once a day. If that's music or reading 10 pages in a book or calling your mother, like what fills you up? Visiting that bestie in the classroom, like and interrupting them and just kind of like talking to them while they're teaching and like helping a little bit. Like what is it that's going to fill you up? Just try that one thing and try to do it systematically and then kind of feed off that energy. But for someone who's feeling like, you know what, I'm feeling okay, and yeah, there's struggles in this job, and some days I'm not feeling it, and some days I am. Then I would encourage them to start like doing a little bit of a time audit. Like look at your day, and then even if you feel like things are already set at work, what are you doing before work and after work? And can you just plug in one little thing to get that momentum going? And again, it sometimes it's just a matter of thinking about it. And you're like, wow, I never even realized I had time to do that. Or maybe after that really tough class where and again, I was spoiled, guys. I was in high school. So like 48 minutes was the most. After that, it was like, all right, see you later. I know in elementary it's a different story. It's like all day. But my 48 minutes, sometimes I would leave and it would be such a tough class. Like I would need like 15 minutes to just sit there and
yeah.
decompress. But it's like, could I do something else in that 15 minutes to decompress that serves me better? And I would like go outside and do a lap around the building. So it's like we start to see these little pockets of time that we can probably fit it in. Beyonce gets a lot done in 24 hours. We probably can too, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Mm.
Mhm.
I love that. I like how we started with educators, but you're really talking about life in general.
Mhm.
And I think that's so powerful to really put it because I saw this little meme that said, no wonder why teacher moms are tired. We're living two lives. We have two first days, and we have two of this and two of that. And at the end of the day, we have given to try to give to ourselves and our family and to that. But when the advice that you're giving and the things that you're saying is, it could be very helpful for our families to be thinking about, even our teens in high school, when they're feeling overwhelmed with all the things that they're doing. These would be great strategies for our students as well.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
like all these things, though, we're just kind of casually talking about it, but all of these are backed up by positive psychology research. Like these are the things that allow humans to flourish, like leaning into your signature strengths, they call them, or the things you love. Like, yeah, that builds you up. Having a schedule actually makes you feel in control, even though we all know life is completely out of control. But
Yes.
when you trick your brain into thinking you're in control, you actually flourish more. And then what I always try to prove, like my more love mindset, is that once we get to the point where we're closer to thriving and not just surviving, then we can do our best part when we thrive the most, and that's when we can give to others. And whether that's bringing that joke to your teacher friend's classroom and lifting them up, and it makes you feel good that you made them feel good. Whether that's like for me, I love to cook and bake, and I would surprise a really nice class with like some apple pies and fresh cupcakes. Like giving your unique gifts to other people is really when we start to create this positive upward spiral where it's like, now I'm thriving, now I'm giving to the world. Now, like, I've got this momentum where even when things come my way, I'm so up here that when I get knocked down here, I'm still not drowning yet. Like, I can keep going. And it takes intention, but once you get there, it's a beautiful thing. And that's kind of how I got accidentally into this. For 20 years, I've been like crazy high energy, super positive for the most part. I mean, I have my bad days like any other human, but
Yes.
overall, super positive. And it's like, what is it about the way I live that allows me to be like this when I see so many people like slumped over, shuffling their feet to come in? I'm sure they're not miserable, but they look physically miserable. And it's like, how can I be this person that's probably really annoying to everybody in the morning and they're not? Like, what is it? And when I finally dug into the positive psych, I was just accidentally living the way that actually helps you
Mhm.
be happier. It was just luck of the draw. That's just between how I was raised and my personality. I just got lucky.
I love that. And then to share that with others and make it easy for them to grasp onto.
Mhm.
My biggest thing is when people I'm like, "Oh, how's it going? It's Tuesday." Like, "Oh, Tuesday, can't wait till Friday." And I constantly would say, "Man, I wish we wouldn't wish our days away." Like we're always waiting for Friday, but what happened through Monday through Thursday? What do we do then that makes, I just can't get I hate to wish our days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing that you were talking about, you were just about, being slumped over and the overwhelming feeling. It just brought back to me last summer we heard a speaker and she said, in order to become more effective and, happy in your space and your job is to create space. Because in that space is where you become creative. And so that just kind of reminds me, it literally ties in perfectly with what you're saying because if as teachers we can create that space to be creative and then, just like you said, it gets those juices flowing and then we're able to better connect with our students and our coworkers and then also in our personal lives as well, just giving ourselves space to be creative in whatever, strengths that we have. So that's
Oh
it.
yeah.
That was a great connection.
Yeah.
No, well said too. And I mean, once we're feeling creative, right? Like our mindset or perspective on how we look at the world is different. I mean,
Mhm.
if you want to look for people who are miserable, you'll find it. If you want to look for people who are happy, you'll find it. If you look at any of us, like you could find a quality about each of us that's unprofessional. Or you could look for qualities in everyone that is professional. It's like what we seek, we will find. And what we look for, we actually start to mirror. So
Mhm.
when you're creative, when you're feeling good, when your students are like laughing and they get to know you as a human and they see a little bit, what is it, ogres and onions, right? When they see past
Yeah.
a couple of those layers and that you're a human and not a robot plugged in, it's like all of a sudden I'm looking at the world through a different perspective. And again, it's that positive upward spiral. I start seeing the more good in the world because I'm looking for it and therefore I mirror it more. It can sound super corny and hippie, but it's back. I'm a believer of science, and it's backed by research. Like you start
Yeah.
doing that stuff, it matters.
And then when you start connecting, being creative and doing things purposefully and connecting with your students, what happens? They grow,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Like the content just comes naturally. We're less stressed, they're less stressed. I mean, you come in and rock it and we come in and do instructional strategies, you got yourself a good little package right there for sure.
Oh, we better start emailing schools now.
Yes, yes. Oh, so hey, Phil, tell us how you have motivational keynotes. We have seen, you online, and your energy is the same on this. It is up there. And educators, I know, just absolutely love that. They need to hear your message and keep them inspired. So how do they get a hold of you? How do they get you there?
Oh, thank you so much for asking. Well, if you're lucky enough to be able to spell my last name, you'll find me on Google. However, I'm the worst at marketing because of that last name. But yeah, my name's Phil Januszewski. If you just search Phil Januszewski, you'll find my philjanuszewski.com. I'm also on all socials at Phil Januszewski. But yeah, my tag is less tired, more inspired too, so you can find me that way. But I love pouring into adult givers that give so much. And honestly, we don't always get to see the forest grow from the seeds that we're planting constantly. And if we're not careful, we forget that there are forests out there growing because of us. And it's easy to get really jaded, cynical, or unfortunately, all the way to burnout. I would love to help you avoid that by getting back on track and like loving your life even more so that you can make even greater impact. I mean, win-win for everyone.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, hey, integrated EDU community educators, you need to check out Phil. Head on over to his website, find him on social media. We follow him, and there are always great motivational shorts that I know I listen to every single day. So make sure you follow him. Phil, thank you so much for joining us on this episode. We really appreciate your knowledge and taking time for educators. We want more inspired and less tired.
Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate you guys.
Take care.
Take care.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with fellow educators. Join the conversation in the comments and let us know how you're applying these strategies in your classroom. Together, we can create meaningful learning experiences for all students. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.